Okay, so thank you everyone for taking time out and attend this webinar. I know different people have got different reasons to attend the webinar. I would like to think most of you are here to learn more about PHP type juggling, but even if you are here for this free CAP code, it does not matter. Hopefully you will learn a very nice vulnerability in PHP type juggling, which Rohit will talk about. Before I pass on the controls to Rohit, I'm Sid. I'm the founder director of the company SecOps Group. Um, so as a business, we have two arms. We have a consultancy arm in which we do pen testing. So if you're looking for a pen test provider or you work with external pen test providers, please reach out to us. We offer application pen test, mobile application pen test, Android, iOS, red teaming, external and internal infrastructure, and all sorts of security testing, bespoke security testing as well. Then we have the education side of things. Our certifications have been gaining immense popularity. I have an announcement to make. Today we have launched a new certification. So Rohit, if you scroll down to certification section, you will be very surprised to see that we have an Android exam, which we have only just started. So yeah, we will start promoting it from next week onwards. But if you want to have a crack at it, please feel free to purchase it or reach out to us if you want to know more about this exam. This is for Android hackers. Anybody who do Android pen testing should be interested into this. It's a practical exam, so people will have to connect to our VPN. We will give them an APK which they will download and hack. And similar to our CA pen and CN pen setups, they will be asked to provide some flags and other answers in the exam portal, and based on that they will be judged pass or fail. It's a very interesting exam. I don't think too many exams of this nature are out there in the industry. I know there are a few, but they are mostly outdated, so we feel very proud and honored to be able to bring this exam to market. And I'm personally looking forward to seeing what sort of feedback we get on this exam. Similarly, our other exams, if you have plans to attend a Black Hat or DEF CON, uh, if you open the Hacker Summer Camp page quickly, Rohit, under the news section, yeah, the Hacker Summer Camp. So this is the things that we are doing at Black Hat and DEF CON, which we are very excited about. We are running exams both at Black Hat and DEF CON. Our exam at Black Hat is called BC Pen, Black Hat Certified Pen Tester. Our exam at DEF CON is called Certified Pen Tester, which is our generic exam. They are both available. You can choose any dates if you are attending the event in Las Vegas. Then if you scroll down, you will see that we have got some goodies that we are giving away, and they are these badges that we've made. Now these are pretty cool. We are hoping that this will be a big hit when we launch them in Las Vegas. They have got some buttons. They have got a microchip at the back. They've got it's a battery powered. So there are two buttons on the left, two buttons on the right. One button is to there are some LEDs on the circumference of the logo. Then there is some LEDs at the side of the logo, and then there is one LED in our SecOps logo. There is a QR code which basically says "Hack me." I don't want to give too much away, but basically of these four buttons, two of them are binary input, 1 and 0, and one button on the left is CTF mode on and off. So you can configure the badge to go into the CTF mode, and then you play a CTF based on the QR code that we've disclosed. You find some flags by solving the CTFs, and then you enter the flags in binary 1 0 into the badge, and based on that input you can make the badge glow in a certain manner. So we think there's a little bit of gamification that we have thrown in, some cool badge. We have put a lot of thought and effort behind this, so we are hoping a lot of people would appreciate the engineering and the thought which has gone behind this. Anyways, I don't want to hack Rohit's time. It's Rohit's time. Let's let him talk about this. But yeah, if you are coming to Black Hat, please do get in touch with us. Even if you are not taking our exams, you can still get a badge for free. It's something that we do for community. Please reach out, and happy to provide those. Okay, do stick around after Rohit's talk. We will drop a code for CAP. Again, with these codes, we have put a limit on these codes, so they will expire after a certain number of usages have been met. And the purpose of releasing these codes is solely for the benefit of those who made an effort to to join us in the webinar. So please share it responsibly or do not share it is what I would say. Thanks. So, okay, without further ado, I'll pass it over to Rohit to take over and talk about the type juggling vulnerabilities.
Okay, thank you for opening the platform for me. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us in the second episode of the Hacker to Hacker webinar series. Today we are going to talk about uncovering the risk of PHP type juggling. So let's start with it. Okay, so let's start with a little bit about me. Myself, Rohit Mishra, and I'm a principal security consultant at the SecOps Group. I do research about various security topics, and we are going to cover one of them in this session. I also do blogging sometimes. You can contact me via LinkedIn or Twitter with the mentioned handles anytime. Okay, so let's start with today's topic. Today we are going to cover about PHP type juggling, how it works, how it can be exploited, and how dangerous it could be. We will also cover it in a practical lab, and in the end, we will talk about the recommendation, how we can patch this vulnerability, and how we can save our application to be exploited with this vulnerability. Let's start with the introduction of PHP. What is PHP? PHP is a server-side scripting language. It was basically designed for web development only. It is probably the oldest server-side language, and because it is one of the oldest language, it is pretty much compatible with the every services which is required for web development. It is an open source language, which means that anyone can contribute to its development and improvement. Can be used for creating various type of application. I mean, literally, we can use it for a simple web application to a complex management type of application, and it will run as smooth as the Hello World program. And that's the reason, even after many vulnerabilities, it has still been used by many major platforms like WordPress, Facebook, Wikipedia, Laravel, and so on. Let's talk about PHP characteristics. As I mentioned earlier, it is compatible with almost every service that is required for web development, and it is also cross-platform compatible language, which means the code that has been written in a Linux environment can run on a Windows machine like a charm. It's designed to be a flexible and dynamic language, which means that anyone can be used to create a wide range of application, from a simple web application to a complex enterprise level of application. It also has built-in support to many databases such as MySQL, Oracle, and PostgreSQL, which makes it easy to create a database-driven application using PHP. There are many public libraries available for PHP, which allows developers to add new functionalities without having to write all the code from the scratch. It's also very easy to learn PHP because it has a very simple and easy syntax as compared with many other languages. And even I started learning about programming with PHP only. It doesn't require any prior programming experience, and so I recommend, if you want to start with programming, start with PHP. Now, as we know about the PHP, let's move to the PHP type juggling. So, what is PHP type juggling? Here, type juggling refers to a functionality of PHP in which PHP engine converts the data types of the common one before comparing them. Now, the question is why it needs to convert the data type. To get the answer of this question, we need to understand how PHP sets the data type of variables. For example, there are two variables, ABC and XYZ. They will be assigned a value 1 to 3 to ABC variable. Now PHP knows that 1 to 3 is not a string; it is it is an integer, not a character. So it will set the data type of ABC variable to integer. And if we assign some value to XYZ, some string value or some char value, then PHP will set the data type of XYZ to string. This is how PHP sets the data types. Now, if we wish to compare both values, then it is not possible because they are different data types. So to solve this problem, PHP engineers came with a solution called PHP type juggling, in which PHP will convert the data type of XYZ to integer before comparing them. Now that XYZ does not have any integer value, for example, XYZ has a string, some name or some anything string, then in that case, it does not have any integer. So PHP will set 0 as an integer value of that variable, and then compare it. The PHP engine will automatically assign that 0 value. So I mean, that is not fair. I mean, previously it was a string, now it is a integer, which is 0. Now, when PHP will compare both values, it will give us a false result. Now, this situation works, but if you see it from a security point of view, this is not right because that first value didn't has any numeric value or any integer value, and has been assigned 0. Then the comparison will give us a false result, which is not good. So this is the point where vulnerability arises. Now we will come to the PHP comparison method. So there are two types of PHP comparison methods. One is loose comparison and the other one is strict comparison. So you can see on my screen the example one. PHP is trying to compare an integer with a string and giving us a false result, because a password string does not have any integer value and we are comparing it with a integer value. So PHP is converting the string to an integer before comparing them, but there is no integer, so it will assign 0 as a value of this string and then compare it, yielding true. Now this is a problem for us. I mean, not for us, but developers. And if you see into the example 2, you can see that developer taking the password from the post request and compare it with the string password. And if the comparison result true, then user gets to log into the application. Now, here comes the problem. As we can see, if the user supplies 0 as the password, he gets to log into the application without any problem, even when he does not know anything about the password. And this could lead a critical issue of accounting code. Now coming to the next comparing method, which is magic hash. First, we need to understand what is magic hash. In PHP, if any value start with 0 followed by any number, then it will consider that value as number 0. Now, the reason behind this consideration is the scientific notation of 0 followed by any number as standing for 0 to the power of some value, which is always 0. So PHP always considered this value as 0. Now in the example one, you can see that the developer is creating a MD5 hash of some value and then comparing it with 0, which is resulting true. And the reason behind this is that the MD5 of this value will start with 0 followed by number only, as you can see in the second example. So the PHP engine will consider it as 0, then compare it, yielding the result false. I mean, we are getting the true, but this result is not right. Now, let's jump to the practical lab. Okay, so here at the SecOps Group, we believe in a practical demonstration. So let's start with our lab. You can find this lab on our Vulnmachine platform. You need to log into the platform and navigate to the type juggling lab. So the lab will look like this. Let's get the table. Okay, so first you need to log into the Vulnmachine platform. Then you can navigate to this type juggling lab. Here, when you click to the lab access, you will be redirected to this URL. And there we can see this is the lab. So I had set up the same lab, my local machine for this session. So we will be we will be performing the practical demo on this lab only. Okay, so let's start with this. We need to go with the white box approach for this one and see that there is a source code option here. So let's first check the application. What are the functionalities application have? So now here we can see on the index page as the username and password, login option, and there is an option for forget password. And on the forget password page, you can see that we need to enter some username and then it will send the password reset password link. Now let's try with the admin. And we don't know about the email address, so we don't know if the password, if anyone has received the reset link. Okay, so let's start with the white box approach. We will download the source code. Let's see what is in the source code. So you can see there is one CSS file, one lower PNG. We can leave that, and we can start with the PHP file. So let's start with the index PHP. Okay, in this file we can see that it is nothing but just HTML code with the login form, and that's it. There's nothing extra in this one. So let's move to the next one. We can also see that there is one auth.php where it is sending the username password for login. Now let's jump to that file. Okay, so in this file we can see that is encoding some SQL.php file, starting the session, setting some variable, and checking for the request method. If it is post, then it is taking the username and password and setting the variables. Then it is making a query to the database to check if the username password is correct. If it is correct, then it will create a session for the user and user gets to log into the application. Okay, now let's check the other files. Let's see the forget.php. Okay, in this file we can see that it is also nothing but just HTML code, and we can see it is also sending a request to reset.php. If we are trying to reset a password, then it will just take the value of the username and sending it to reset.php with the post method. Okay, now let's move to this reset.php file. Okay, now in this file you can see there are many functions have been defined by the developer, and there are two files that have been included to this particular file. Okay, so let's go to the functions one by one. So the first function is for just redirection. If if this home function has been called, then user will get to redirect to this index page. Now coming down to the next function, which is generate link. Now before checking for this function, we can check the condition to this page. There are two conditions. The first one is for checking the post request, and the second one is for any other request. So let's check for the first request. If we are making any post requests, as we can see into the forget PHP, that it is creating a post request and sending the username as a value of user parameter. Now in this one, we can see that if the value of this user parameter is null, then we will redirect to the index file, as you can see here. Now, if it has some value, then it will call the generate link function. Now, coming down to the function, you can see that how it is generating the reset password link. And in this one, we can see that it is calling some random integer function. It is creating some random token, and then it is taking the integer value of current time, and then it is making a query to the database to just update this token into the database. Here we can see that it is making an update query to update this token with this username. And then in the next line, you can see that it is fetching the password from the database, and then it is creating the URL, the reset link, the reset password link. In this one, we can see that it is calling the current domain, then reset PHP, and then it is passing the username and the current value of the current integer value of time. And in the next one, we can see that there is a parameter SIG, and it is calling a function generate signature. And in this one, it is passing the username, token, the integer value of time, and the password, which has been fetched from the database. Now let's get this function. So in this function, we can see that it is creating a SHA-256 hash of this value: username, token, time, and password. And we can see that it is also calling the substring and passing the 0 to 8 substring. So it is only taking the starting 1 to 8 characters from the hash. Now, to show this, let me just simply show it. Okay, so in this one, we can see that we are assuming that username is admin, and the random token is, it is random, so it could be anything. And the current integer value of time, and we are assuming this is the password. So we are just trying to create a hash. So this will be the hash, and it will only take the first 8 character from this hash. Okay, so now coming back to the code, so it will send this 8 characters into this signature parameter. This is basically for the integrity chain, so that anyone cannot create the the password resetting with the username and current integer time of current value of time, and it is just sending the mail to the user. And then very next line. Now, when the user will click to this link, what will happen? Let's coming back to the next condition, which is else. So it will basically be the get request, and this one will check for the signature first. And if there is nothing in the signature, it will redirect to the home page. The index page. And if it has some value, then it will call the validate link function, and it will send the parameters, send the values of these parameters to this function: signature, time, and the user. So coming back to this function, validate link. In this function, you can see that in the very first line, it is fetching the token from the database, which has been updated while generating the link here. And in the next line, you can see that it is fetching the password from the database again. Just note down that we didn't pass the password into the reset password link because we don't know the password. That is why we are resetting the password. So it will just fetch the password from the database, and it will check if there is no token into the database, which will be, there will be no token if we didn't generate any link previously. So we need to generate the link first, then the token will be saved to the database, and then this condition will be true, and then we can go to the further into this condition. Now in this in the second line, after passing this condition, you can see there is one more condition, that if the token is expired or not. So we can see the token expiry function. in this we can see that whatever time we are passing, it will be passed to here, the time value, and it will check if the link is more than 6 hours old. If it is more than 6 hours old, then it will return false and the condition will be false and it will be redirect to the index page. So we need to keep this thing in mind that our link should be not older than 6 hours. Now the next thing is, okay, so if we pass this condition, then there is one more condition into the next line that we can see it is again generating the signature. But this time it is taking the username, token, time, and the password. Now it is taking the username from the URL. It is taking the token from the database. It is taking the time from the URL. It is taking the password from the database. And then it is taking the signature from the URL itself that we have passed there. Okay. And then comparing both values. So we know that we can control this signature value, we can control this username, we can control this time. Now we don't know about the user, but there will, we know that admin is a user of every user. So we can assume that the username is admin. Now we don't know about the token, we can control this time value. We don't know about the password, but we can control this signature also. And we can see the developer is using loose comparison here. Although developer has used this loose comparison in various places, but we can see that those places are not user controlled. But this one, we can control the time value, we can control the user value, we can control the signature value. But user will still remain same, the admin. So we can play with this time value and the signature value. The signature is a hash that we can see that it is nothing but just a SHA-256 hash. So it means that the magic hash will work here because they are using the loose comparison only. Now, if we else the condition true, then we can see that we will redirect to the new password page. Okay, now let's check the URL, how it will look like. So URL will look like something like this, like that I have showed in the last one. If this is the hash, then URL will be something like this: domain, reset.php, username will be admin, and some time value, the same value actually, and the hash, basically the signature. So this is how the URL will look like, and this will be the legit URL. Now, if we wish to bypass this, then our signature should be start with 0E followed by any number. Now, the thing is that we can control this admin. We cannot control this username because it will still be admin, but we can control this time. So we need a time value that will come to this place and generate a hash which will start with 0E followed by numbers. Now this will be a difficult task if we will do it manually. So we need to create a script for this. And I have a script for this. I will show it. Okay, so this is the script that I created with the help of Python. In this script, you can see that I'm using 3 libraries: request, sys, and time. So in the time, we can see that into the next line that we are taking the integer value of current time, and I've defined 3 functions: restLength, getLength, and the main function. So let's start with the main function. In the main function, it will check for the arguments. If there is no argument, that will show us the help page. And in the next line, we'll see that the argument will be go to the it will set the value of target variable, and it will print a line. And in the next line, we can see that it will call the restLength function. In the wrestling function, we can see that it is passing the target value, which will be our argument, and then it will take the current value of time. Then in the next line, we can see that it is calling the getLength function. So basically, getLength function is for getting the length of the wrong response. I mean, if we are clicking a wrong password reset link, then we should have some content length so that we can verify that this is the wrong one and we need the right one. So it is just taking the long length here. Then there is a while loop where we can see that it will be true until we got the right link. Now in this one we can see that it will place the target here, the domain name, whatever the domain it is. Now it will use the user admin and it will increase the value of time. I mean, first it will take the value of time from here. Let's see the integer value of time, and it is passing the integer value of time here. And we will use the signature 0 followed by any number. We can use any number. I'm just using 000, but we can use any number here. In the next line, we can see that we are making a GET request and trying to fetch the content length and trying to compare it with the wrong length. If it is not the right link, then it will increase the time value and again start the loop. So in this way, we will get the right link and then we can reset the password. So let's start with the exploitation part. Now I'm using the local lab for the exploitation, but you can use the Vulnmachine lab. Let me verify this. Okay. So that's okay. Now let's wait for a minute. It's basically trying every combination that will give us this signature. So we got the link. Now it has some random time value. We don't know about that. Just take the time value and increase the value. So it will just trying to create a hash which will start with 0E and then we can reset the password. Let's see. Let's check this. Okay, so when we reset this thing, then we got the flag. Okay, so this is how we can solve this lab. Now let's come back to the presentation. Okay, so let's talk about the recommendation. Now to save our application from this vulnerability, we need to follow some rules. I mean, there are some security best practices that we can follow to save our application. Let's get into that. Okay, so first we need to use strict comparison. Rather than using the boost comparison, we should always use a strict comparison, which will be noted as a triple equal, which also be called a type safe comparison. So you can see in the example that we are comparing the same string, the 0, telling the result true, but when we are using the strict comparison, we are getting the right answer, that password is not equal to 0. Now, the next thing that we can follow is about the comparison functions. So if we are using any comparison function in our code, we should always use a function that gives us an option of strict comparison. Now, there are many functions that are not giving us that option, then we should avoid that function. We should not use that function in our code, so that it will not be vulnerable for PHP type juggling. Now you can see into the example that there is an array. There is an array of phones and some value. And the next line, you can see that we are not using any strict option in this one. I mean, we are not strictly comparing this value, and we are trying to find the zero in this array. And we can see there is no zero in this array, but this condition will yield true because we are not using strict comparison for this one. Now, in the next line, we can see that if we are using the strict comparison, which has been defined with this true option, then we are getting the right result as false. So there is no zero in this array. Now, coming down to the next recommendation that we can follow, we should not use typecasting for comparison. Now, what is typecasting? Typecasting means that we are forcing PHP engine to convert a data type that we want. I mean, you can see into the example that there is a variable string and it has a value of 4 string. But in the next line, you can see that we typecast it before comparing it. I mean, the PHP will typecast it before comparing it, and we have defined that we need an integer type of value here. So what PHP engine will do that it will convert this value to integer and it will try to find the integer value in this string, and we can see there is a 4 in this string, so it will just convert this string to 4, the integer 4, and then compare it with the number 4. So that is why it is yielding us a true result, which is not right. So we should always keep this thing in mind that we should not typecast anything before any comparison. Now, that's it for my side. I think Sid has some gift for you guys.
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks a lot, Rohit. That was really informative, and I hope everybody else found it informative too. I mean, these type of attacks are very common when any comparison, such as reset password functionality is considered, etc. It's very hard to find them in a black box engagement, but these are typically uncovered during a white box where you have access to the source code, etc. So a very practical issue. And something which is not really as talked about as other vulnerabilities like OWASP top 10, etc. So very informative. Okay, so we have a discount code for CAP. I think it may have already been accidentally leaked, but Rohit, you want to share that with the team here?
Sure.
It's on your slide somewhere.
So,
right. So here is the code H2H-E2-CAP-100. Use that for CAP. It's available only on CAP. It's a 100% discount code. It has a usage limit, so it will expire soon. So please use it wisely, and we would advise against sharing this on social media. But that's so hopefully we can benefit everybody who's attended this webinar today. Okay, anything else, Rohit, that we wanted to say?
No, I guess we are good to go.
Okay,
thanks everyone.
Yeah, thank you everyone for your time, and we hope to see you on the next episode 3, so sometime soon. Yeah, thank you everyone. Okay, I think we can end the webinar now, Rohit or Zach.